Welcome to Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Wow, what news we got. The hot stove has continued just to stay smoking hot here in the offseason. We have said many different times that the Dodgers are not done. I spent an entire Sunday night show going over the fact that the Dodgers on the 40-man roster was full, and then also the problem was, and a couple of Sundays, not this last Sunday show, but the Sunday before that, I mentioned the biggest problem is now, of course, in the offseason, typically speaking, what you talk about is the 40-man roster because there's no active roster to put into place, but that the Dodgers were going to have to start trying to make moves to clear space on their roster for guys that will allow at least 14 options to make it to their 26-man roster. So we saw Diego Cartaya be DFA'd for a guy that can be on the up-down train in Ha-Seong Kim, right? Okay, so we saw that move, and now we've seen Gavin Lux, who is going to be removed from both the 26-man roster and the 40-man roster, okay? So going all the way back to, hey, we need an ace-level starter, got that with Blake Snell. Still haven't got the high-leverage reliever, okay? But you did get the middle infielder. We've been saying Ha-Seong Kim all winter. You're getting a guy named Ha-Seong Kim that's going to fit that same role with the same type of offensive profile, right? Although he's left-handed. And so really, we talked about getting Blake Trinan back, and that absolutely has happened. And we've been talking and been very consistent all offseason long about making a trade for Gavin Lux. It just absolutely is a no-brainer. It's been a no-brainer for the simple fact that Gavin Lux is at his peak value. You're seeing this with the Reds. The Dodgers got him back on top of his game. He was a really, really, really good, and I know this is going to kill Ela Shiva, that Gavin Lux is no longer going to be with the Dodgers. But this is a great move. Matter of fact, I just messaged Gavin. I might get a message back from him. I might not. Most of the time, he does message me back. I can tell you this. I was there whenever he gave the hugs to Scott Hennessy in Tulsa, getting moved up, getting the move from AA Tulsa to AAA Oklahoma City. Scott Hennessy was huge for Gavin Lux. I was there and on the grounds crew in Oklahoma City when Gavin Lux got the call, got to watch him wheel his suitcase just right by the grounds crew garage area down the right field line, get in the black car that was at the bottom of the ramp, get in the car, go up the ramp, head to the airport in Oklahoma City to get called up to L.A. And as a matter of fact, I hope I get a message back from Gavin because I included this whole story in the message that I sent him. Matter of fact, the day before, when you're on a grounds crew in a professional game like that, you have 5 people that go out there with those pull behind drags. Well, I was one of them the day before after the third inning. And as I was going by Gavin while he was taking ground balls in between innings, I said, Gavin, congratulations, you're going up to the major leagues. He goes, say what? I said, just trust me, my man. Keep your phone close to you. That was my exact comment to him. And the very next day, he got promoted to the major leagues. And again, that was the experience. I got to see him pack up and head off. So Gavin, and then also that was 2019. That was one of the most incredible stretches of baseball of any minor league baseball player of all time. He was playing shortstop at that time. He's just a sweet kid. And then also, I've got to talk to him a couple times in different situations. One mainly was during a rainout in Oklahoma City, and it was we were just kind of sitting around waiting for the rain to stop, and got probably to talk to Gavin for probably a good 30 minutes. I'm sure he doesn't remember it. And then also one time I can remember he had to take extra ground balls before a game that summer, and it was mid-August, and it was like 138 degrees outside, and he comes out, and I think the big club had called down and said, hey, he needs to take a couple extra ground balls. So he's going out like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Oklahoma City, the hottest part of the day. It's been 100 degrees for the last month. And he walks out of the dugout. He goes, of course, he's from Wisconsin. Keep that in mind. And he goes, God almighty, how the hell does anybody live in this sauna? This is absolutely unbelievable. And so he went out and took a couple ground balls. Of course, he had jean shorts on. They were all cut off and that kind of deal. And it was just so cool seeing Gavin Lux, one of the biggest prospects in all the minor leagues in that scenario. So always been a huge Gavin Lux fan. Gavin Lux has always been a really good baseball player. Tough situation for him that he got brought up to the major leagues and immediately just started getting shuffled around. If you remember, his offensive game was good enough to where the Dodgers were trying to create new positions. They tried to move him to the outfield. They had to transition to second base. And so the transition to the major league level with the Dodgers was not one that was filled with consistency. And so whenever you have opportunity that's not consistent, you're likely going to get results that match that. And if you get results that match that, the results would say there's going to be some inconsistency in that. Despite all of that, Gavin Lux continued to work. He continued to fight. He got himself in a position to where last year in spring training, the Dodgers were going to trust him for the shortstop position. They realized that the injury was too devastating, moved him to second base 10 days in from spring training. Gavin Lux then struggled like crazy. I can tell you this because I've communicated with him. I know this for 100% fact that his body was not responding to his normal triggers as far as the swing goes. He could not execute physically his normal swing for half of last year. Finally, the body loosened up. He got further away from the ACL, and lo and behold, he had a hell of a second half of a season. So now when you look at this situation, Mookie Betts, I've been saying this for a long time, if he had his druthers, I think he would choose second base over every position on the field. And I think that's the best case scenario for the Dodgers. Now, he still might end up being the shortstop and Tommy Edman be the second baseman, or Hesson Kim, or whoever it may be, Miguel Rojas, or whatever it may be. But this, again, opens the door up to move Mookie Betts to, in my opinion, the best possible position for him, because I think Mookie Betts would be an all-star caliber defensive second baseman. I think he would be a league average defensive player at shortstop, so I think that move would make sense. I think definitely it opens up the door for that. So from the Dodgers' perspective, you're losing a fairly dynamic. Gavin Lux has good speed. Gavin Lux is a guy that has shown that he can hit for average. Gavin Lux is a guy that has some dynamics to his game. And so you're losing a good young player, and keep in mind that Gavin Lux still in his 20s and still has 2 years of team control. This guy has value. We saw that with what the Reds did today with the trade. And so who do the Dodgers get back for Gavin Lux? This, not only did the Dodgers clear room to move Mookie Betts to second base, they're also getting a hell of a return. Okay, so really what they actually are getting, let's start with this. What are the Dodgers getting in return that is so valuable? The first thing they are getting is a spot on the 40-man roster back, and a spot that also was going to occupy the 26-man roster. So that now allows the Dodgers to go out and sign another player that they expect to not just be on the 40-man roster, but to also be on the 26-man roster, right? Tanner Scott, right? Whoever center fielder you might want, right? Whoever shortstop you might want. This move opens up a 40-man spot, definitely, but it also opens up a spot of which eventually will be the 26-man roster as well, because what the Dodgers are getting in return aren't going to be guys in any way, shape, or form that are even going to be on the 40-man roster, right? So you're taking one guy off your 40-man and not putting anybody else back on. So that's +1. You're taking one man off of what's going to be your 26-man roster, not adding anybody back onto this trade. That's +1. That is the number one most important key to this entire trade. No doubt about it, is that the Dodgers are doing that for their roster. But beyond that, okay, what else are the Dodgers getting out of this trade? And give me just a second here. I need to type into this, and I need to do just a little bit of work here with this going on here. Beyond that, okay, yeah, we've got that going on. Okay, so beyond that, what else are the Dodgers getting? So first of all, let's talk about Mike Sirota. Okay, Mike Sirota, excuse me. All right, and if you were to ask me, hey, what's the one position where the Dodgers really, really need to get talented in the farm system? I think we know that the pitching is well taken care of. Maybe middle infield. I mean, you still have Alex Freeland. You got Noah Miller. You got Austin Gothier. You got guys like that. You still have Jainer Fernandez, who hey, don't forget, he still is very talented. He's been in the top prospects. So you might say, hey, middle infield, something like that. Okay, but I think outfield too. I know you still have Kenny George. Of course, in the middle infield, you have Joendry Vargas. By the way, I'm going to talk to Manny Pimentel this week, I think tomorrow, and he's going to talk about Joendry Vargas. Manny Pimentel is the director of scouting in the DR. And so he has very up close and personal experience with Emil Morales and also Joendry Vargas. And so he's going to talk about those two guys a lot. He's going to talk about all of the prospects in the Dodger system from the DR. So I'm super excited to talk to Manny Pimentel. So that's going to be very exciting. Okay, so yes, you have Emil Morales, you have Joendry Vargas, you've got Alex Freeland, you got Noah Miller. So you do have some middle infield guys. So I would say, although you have Kenny George, Zaire Hope, you've got obviously Josue De Paula and all of those guys, right? I would say replenishing your outfield talent is a pretty big priority. So Mike Sirota, this is a guy that was number 14 in the top 30 prospects. Of course, I think you guys know that, and gals know I'm not huge on top prospects list, but still, I like the notoriety of it. It makes it easier to quantify. It makes it easier to explain to you at least what other people think of this guy. Number 14 on the top 30 prospects list for the Cincinnati Reds. And here's the kicker. I really personally don't care about the number 14 ranking. Here's what I care about with Mike Sirota. Coming out of high school, I believe it was in, I think Connecticut. Coming out of high school in 2021, guess who drafted him out of high school? You guessed it, the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the kings of seeing somebody they like, putting it in their memory bank, and then striking whenever it comes back around to be able to pick that person up. Ha-Seong Kim, remember that? The Dodgers saw him in Korea. They didn't immediately go get him. What they did is they put him in the memory bank. They went back around and went and got him. Tommy Edman, same situation. The Dodgers saw Tommy Edman. They loved Tommy Edman. They put him in their memory bank. And when they had a chance to strike and go get him, they absolutely went and did it. There's several pitching prospects you could go up and down the list to say the Dodgers have done the same thing with. And this is exactly what they did with Mike Sirota. So the Dodgers drafted Mike Sirota in one of the later rounds in the 2021 draft, which tells me the Dodgers loved him coming out of high school. Okay. And so Mike Sirota decided to go to college instead, gets drafted by the Reds, and Now, the Dodgers, having already known about this guy, having already liked the guy enough to draft him, he was their number one target when you're talking about Gavin Lux. So you might say, why isn't how did the Dodgers not turn around a major league? Gavin Lux didn't give us a good return because we're not getting a major league ready prospect. No, you didn't want a major league guy to come back unless it maybe was a shortstop or, like a Matt McClain, something like that, or a center fielder, because what you wanted was the roster spot. We mentioned this on our show the other day. I thought probably, matter of fact, I think my exact quote was, I think the number one probably best scenario for the Dodgers is if they go the Michael Busch and Yency Almonte route and they trade guys off of their 40 who are going to also be on their 26 for guys that won't be on either. That's the route the Dodgers chose with Gavin Lux, and it's a great route. It's a win-win for everybody. We'll get into it about what it means for Gavin Lux here in a minute. So you get Mike Sirota, a young man the Dodgers are very familiar with. So here's the exciting part of that, okay? Here's just kind of the nerdy part of it. So the amateur scout, so like an amateur scout means those are the scouts that go scout all of the amateur players, meaning the high school and college guys. So the Dodgers amateur scouts in the Northeast, probably Jonah Rosenthal, noticed this young man out of high school, drafted him, he went to college. So the Dodgers amateur scouts continue to take an eye on Mike Sirota. And then also the pro scouts, once he became a professional, then also got to do an evaluation on Mike Sirota. So the Dodgers got a evaluation from every type of scout that they possibly could have about this young man. So yeah, you can be excited about the number 14 ranked of all that, whatever you want. What I'm excited about is that the Dodgers scouts have had their eyes on this guy for a long time. They've wanted him since 2021, and they finally went and got him. So that's the most exciting part of his draft pick too. So what else do the Dodgers get? The Dodgers also got, and let me scoot this over, and actually let me put this up on the screen right here. The Dodgers also got a competitive, balanced draft pick. So what does that mean? So there's 2 rounds of the competitive balanced draft, and so it's exactly what it says. Competitive balance. These are drafts, draft pick locations that are meant to make the lower revenue teams more competitive. That's why it's called the competitive balanced draft. So you have 2 rounds. You have round A and you have round B. So the 10 you see right here, the 10 lowest revenue clubs and the clubs from the 10 smallest markets get a competitive balance pick. And again, there's 2 rounds. There's round A and there's round B. So the competitive balance round A is between the first and second rounds. So basically what the Dodgers got here was like a number 39 draft pick. That is closer to number 1 than Dalton Rushing. Dalton Rushing was number 42. So the type of player the Dodgers could draft with this competitive balance draft pick could be somebody that is drafted higher than what Dalton Rushing was drafted. That's a hell of a deal right there. I'll tell you another, and so that's round 1. That's round A is between the first and second round. Round B is between the second and third rounds. And again, it is only the clubs that have it's only the 10 clubs that have the lowest revenue or the 10 smallest markets that actually even get to have a draft pick in this competitive balance round. So typically speaking, well, never, unless the Dodgers trade for that pick. The Dodgers don't ever get to draft out of this competitive balance unless they trade for it. Okay, so another thing that this does is by drafting in the competitive balance round, the Dodgers also, they get more international bonus pool money. And boy, we know the Dodgers love that international pool money. There had been reports about that. So add money. It says up to the maximum of 4.75 million, actually 5.25 million, as far as the competitive balance round A, up to 5.25 million in international bonus pool money. Those are your Roki Sasakis, right? Those are all of those international signings that the Dodgers are getting back as far as having this competitive balance round A, not round B. So to kind of give you an example, if you're familiar at all with the Dodgers system, you'll remember one of the biggest pitching prospects in the system as of a couple of years ago was this young man right here, Clayton Beeter. Okay? Clayton Beeter got traded to the Yankees he actually got drafted by the Dodgers. You can see right here in the competitive balance, that's what CB means, round B, not even round A. So he went between the second and third rounds out of Texas Tech. I got to see him pitch there for the Red Raiders. And so you're talking about the Dodgers getting a draft pick in round A. So to give you just kind of two real life examples as a Dodgers fan as to what this competitive balance pick means, we know that the bonus pool money is huge. We've been talking about Roki Sasaki forever, correct? So we know that up to $5 whatever million is huge. And then also we've already seen the Dodgers trade for a competitive balance pick, in this case scenario with Clayton Beeter in rounds B, which is between the second and third round of the regular draft. This time, because of Gavin Lux, the Dodgers trading in for Gavin Lux at his peak value. We've been saying that all year long. Because of that, now the Dodgers also have a competitive balance pick. And they also have a guy that they drafted in 2021 that they have had scouts that have gotten eyes on for basically now the last 5 years. So that is one hell of a return when you also stack onto the fact that the biggest prize, in my opinion, is they're getting a 26 and 40-man spot back on your rosters, and you're not replacing it with anybody in this trade. So this is an absolute huge win for the Dodgers. It's super exciting. Again, there is nobody on the face of the planet that is a bigger, well, maybe his uncle and his parents, and I'm going a little bit extreme there. But in terms of Dodgers fans, there is nobody that's a bigger fan of Gavin Lux than I am, okay? And so I am so super excited about this situation. So when I talk about, you might say, well, how can you also be a fan, such a big fan of Gavin Lux, but then be so excited the Dodgers are getting rid of him? Well, because Gavin Lux is going to go to Cincinnati, and he's going to have a clean runway. He's going to be in a much smaller market. Now, hey, we know that the Cincinnati Reds can be very good. They can. I mean, hell, they had the Red Machine in the 70s, right? Okay, I mean, they can go on a run and be very good. That's not what I'm saying, but it's not the fishbowl that the Dodgers are right now. It is not the microscope that Dodgers fans have put on Gavin Lux ever since he has come up in the system. I don't think people understand what type of pressure actually is tagged to being the top prospect in the Los Angeles Dodgers system and having to live up to those very unreal expectations, not realistic expectations, when you're not even getting to play your native position. You're having to learn a whole new position. Then you're having to deal with injuries. Then you're having to deal with a fan base that wants to throw you away after about 100 at-bats, right? Even after you've torn your ACL in a devastating injury. The Dodgers fans are the greatest fan base in the world, but they have no patience whatsoever for guys that need 200, 300, 400 at-bats to work their way back into it. The Dodgers fans, they want people to be plug and play. That's why the Diego Cartaya situation was never going to work. He was never going to have enough runway to get comfortable at the major league level. It's also why now the Dodgers are down to just Will Smith being the only guy in their position player lineup and on their entire roster that actually grew up in the Dodgers system. It's because there is no time whatsoever for any of these guys to come up and get the 500 to 700 at bats they need in a situation to where they're allowed to fail and fail and fail until they finally figure it out. You get about 100 at bats. James Outman learned that, right? That's about all you get, and then the Dodgers have to go get Kike Hernandez or whoever it may be to be the, hey, there is all Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. Then the Dodgers need to go get a Kike Hernandez or that major league veteran that can come in and shore things up. So congratulations to Gavin Lux. This is a great situation for him. The last thing I mentioned on my message to him was, my opinion, this is a great thing for him. Again, he's from Wisconsin. He'll feel comfortable in Cincinnati. The Dodgers are getting a guy, again, in Mike Sirota that they've had eyes on since 2021. They drafted him. They're getting a competitive balance round pick in draft day, which means they're going to get, I think, the 39th pick, which I think is 3 picks higher than what they drafted Dalton Rushing. It's several, I mean, they've already used these in the past, like with guys like Clayton Beeter, like I mentioned. And then also, you know, it's a situation to where the Dodgers are going to be receiving international bonus pool money. It is a bonanza. I've been, you know, last year when the Dodgers signed Shohei Ohtani, obviously that was exciting. I don't even think I remember that show. I think it was, you know, kind of like when I talked to Steven Nelson and I asked him about, hey, when Freddie Freeman hit that grand slam, do you even remember making the call, or was it like a blackout type of deal? And he was like, oh, 100% for sure. It was a blackout situation. I mean, I was just hollering and screaming. I felt it kind of funny. But I think that was probably the entire show for me after the Dodgers got Shohei Ohtani. So that was obviously super exciting. The show after the Dodgers beat the Padres this year in the NLDS, that was exciting, although I do remember that. And then after the Dodgers won the World Series, that was kind of another one of those blackout type deals too. But beyond that, to be honest with you, of course, what was so exciting about this Shohei Ohtani deal was that, yes, you're getting Shohei Ohtani, which is unbelievably exciting to begin with. You're going to get to see the greatest player in our generation every single freaking day, right? Which is unbelievable. But if you go back to that show, the theme of that show for me was, this is the dude that's going to recruit everybody else. Now, because Shohei Ohtani is on your roster, everybody is going to want to become a Dodger now. The Dodgers are not that they haven't ever always been a popular landing spot for free agents, but now that you have Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers are going to be the landing spot for every single free agent. And that has absolutely happened. So I'm, like I like to do a lot, I'm telling a long story that probably should have been a lot shorter to say, honestly, of all the moves the Dodgers have made, this is beyond other than Shohei Ohtani, nothing can ever touch that, right? This is my favorite. And it's kind of right in my wheelhouse because it has to do with the former Dodgers prospect. Now, will it be the most impactful? I'm not saying that. There's a big difference between saying personally, this is absolutely my favorite move versus saying this is going to be the most impactful move. Okay. Nothing will compare to the Shohei Ohtani move in terms of impact and favoritism. Nothing ever. Right? You're going to say Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, all. Can't argue with it. But for me, personally, with my personal connection to Gavin Lux and going all the way back to his days in Tulsa, the way that I root for him, the shit that he's taken from Dodgers fans, the way that I've always stuck up for Gavin Lux, For all those factors, this is one of the most rewarding days that I have spent as a Dodgers fan, because the Dodgers are getting exactly what they need in return, and Gavin Lux is going to get the runway that he deserves. Go do it, young man. Go kill it with the Reds. Go be the Gavin Lux that guys like me have been saying that you are capable of being. Get in that environment where you're comfortable and go kick some ass. I am so excited for this young man. And so I again, those are just kind of some of my raw thoughts as far as this move with the Dodgers. We have a wonderful crowd logged in. Let's get to some of your thoughts as far as this move that the Dodgers just made. We have a wonderful crowd. Jason Soretti, Craig, Roy Estrada, Ela Shiva. I know Ela Shiva, I mentioned earlier. I'm sure you were destroyed by this because I know that you are a big Gavin Lux fan. Christopher Navarro, hey, late show for you. Yeah, no doubt. That's fine. It is almost 11 o'clock. I officiated 4 games tonight, and so I had to travel about an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half back. I got the news from Austin Brubaker on the way home, so I zoomed home and threw on a live show. Glenn Comedia, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you saying those wonderful words about the expertise. And yeah, Ela Shiva, me too. I hope Luxie has great success under the management of Terry Francona, who is such a wonderful manager. Yeah, so what a wonderful crowd. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I know, typically speaking, Austin goes on quite a bit earlier on Mondays. So is the roster at 39, or now is it still at 40? That moves it back to 40 as soon as they put on Hae-Sung Kim. And actually, that will move them down to 39. That's exactly right. So that opens up exactly one spot to go get whoever you want at this point. And keep in mind, whoever you go get can be a guy now that can both be obviously the 40, but also just looking down the future, can also be a guy that is definitely going to be a 26-man roster guy. So now you can go get another guy that has no minor league options and be perfectly safe now. The Dodgers, I'm telling you, they play chess. It never fails. They always do the right thing. We talked about the Dodgers doing the Michael Busch, Yency Almonte thing, and they absolutely do it. I agree with you, Orlando. Orlando is saying that Gavin Lux will play well in Cincinnati, and that Orlando still believes in Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux was a terrific baseball player second half of the season last year. Let's keep in mind, Dodgers fans, Gavin Lux is leaving this organization as whatever part, however big of a part of it that you want to say it has been. That's up to you. That's your opinion. That's your choice. So that's subjective. But you know what's not subjective is the fact that he has at least been somewhat of a part of 2 world championships. Keep in mind, he drove in the game-tying run last year in the clinching game. Not only did he drive in the game-tying run with, I believe it was a 2-strike fly ball RBI, executing the game of baseball, he also, if you remember, he advanced the runner from second to third, which then set up the fact that Dodgers could score the go-ahead run without getting a base hit. So I'm going to personally say he was a big part of 2 World Series championships. You're welcome to your opinion as far as however dramatic or big of a part you want to think Gavin Lux was. That's up to you. That's subjective. What is not subjective is that he has been a part, at least whatever part you want to make it, of two world championships since 1920. Hey, we want Sasaki Scott and CT Outman Grove Miller out. Yeah, we're not going to necessarily talk tonight about all the guys you want out. You can talk about maybe who you want, but I'd rather. This is a celebration for me. I don't want to go the downer route. We will do that on Wednesday night. We'll get back into our evaluations of who might stay, who might not. But tonight, I'm going to tell you point blank, this is a celebration show for me. I'm so excited for Gavin Lux. I'm so excited for the Dodgers. So, and again, another reason of that is I think it gives the ability for the Dodgers to move Mookie Betts to second base. I have said, I've got receipts, okay? Been saying all offseason, the Dodgers have been saying this Mookie thing at shortstop. They've been saying it all along to raise the trade value of Gavin Lux. And no, that's not tinfoil. No, that is not conspiracy theory. You know what that is? It's another example of the Dodgers playing chess because you just saw it happen right in front of your own eyes. So 8-18, Lorica. Hey, Casey the man going to miss seeing what a full healthy Lux was going to do this year. Well, yeah, I'm going to say this again, and I had this question asked when Michael Busch got traded away on D-Mac's show when I went on. He said, so if Michael Busch goes and he becomes an all-star, does that mean the Dodgers lost this trade? No, not at all. Not whatsoever. Okay, it means because still, regardless of how good Michael Busch does with the Cubs, it still doesn't change the fact that they had no opportunities for Michael Busch. So even if Gavin Lux goes to Cincinnati, I'm going to say this right now, even if Gavin Lux goes to Cincinnati and becomes an all-star type second baseman, that still does not mean the Dodgers lost this trade because I still think Mookie Betts at second base with somebody else at shortstop, that makes your defense substantially better. I think it makes Mookie Betts an all-star caliber second baseman. So Dodgers fans, you should root for Gavin Lux, who has helped you win 2 world championships. Root for him to go do the best he possibly can at Cincinnati, because even if he goes and kills it, that doesn't in any way, shape, or form mean that the Dodgers lost this trade at all, right? Because you're getting bonus pool money back. You're getting a hell of a draft pick. I think at pick number 39. And then you're also getting a guy in Sirota, Mike Sirota, that's going to replenish the outfield talent and somebody the Dodgers have had eyes on since 2021. And if there is one thing that you should trust in this Dodgers system, it is their scouting services, both on the pro and the amateur sides. They both had evaluations on this guy. And because of that, they wanted him. They stayed on him. And they went and got him. Hey, Mr. Seabat, my fear is Lux does well in Cincy, opts out of his arbitration, and ends up with the Padre. I don't think he's going to do that. I think Gavin Lux, he's a Midwest guy. I can tell you, if you're from the Midwest, I know it's hard for West Coast people to understand this, but if you're from the Midwest and you're used to that kind of vibe, you know, not necessarily the Hollywood type of vibe, just kind of the blue collar, just kind of nobody's bigger than anybody else, that kind of vibe to it. That's usually the situation to where you feel the most comfortable in. That's the vibe that Gavin Lux grew up in. I would not be shocked, you know, kind of like Trey Turner wanted to go back to the East Coast. That's the vibe that he was used to. I would be shocked if Gavin Lux wanted to come back to the West Coast. I think he's going to get in the Midwest where he's comfortable, and he's going to thrive and enjoy being back in the Midwest, back around the type of people with the types of mentalities that he grew up with and he's comfortable with. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a fantastic situation. Gustavo is in the house. Riquelme, Gustavo Riquelme, está cambio en suena. Ok, Dodgers a deshizo de Lux porque pensión mandar al maletón de Monse a segunda base y traer un refuerzo como Bregman's para también also a duda porque trajeron un coreano desconocido. You can tell my Spanish is not very good. I probably butchered that, but I wanted to read that for anybody else that can translate that. There you go. So, hey, the Dodgers get their guy still nice. Yeah, no doubt, Orlando. Totally agree with you. Would have loved Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, I think we all would have 818 Lorica. I would have done well with Matt McClain because it's a shortstop guy who can play shortstop. Having said that, I am totally fine with getting the roster spots back, getting the competitive balance draft pick between the first and second round, and getting a guy, Mike Sirota, the Dodgers have scouted for 5 years now, right? So the link above is a Cool Prospects YouTube channel. Must be a scout, Christopher Navarro, talking about the Prospects Worldwide channel and all the video that you get to see on the prospects. Orlando Dodgers get a good deal. They get to pick their own guy to develop. Yes, they do. Hey, Clint's still in the house. Thank you so much, Clint Pasillas. Can't wait to join his live show on Wednesday. So definitely check out All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. He does a wonderful job over there. I watched his entire show yesterday. As a matter of fact, I actually logged on and got into some of the chat yesterday. So that was fun. So yeah, Clint's saying feel happy for Gavin Lux. No doubt about that. I could not be any more happy for Lux as it sits. In abstract saying Lux got like 500 at bats. And so I think he's going to be very comfortable there. Ila Shiva is agreeing with that. Hey, Showtime still all aboard the Luis Robert trade. I think everybody knows where I stand on that situation. I think whenever people say that, they're looking at name brand. They're not actually looking. I mean, I made the case the other day he's never had two back-to-back good seasons, but again, that's good for another show. I really don't want to get into debate as far as any of the other guys that we want or any of the guys that we want to dump or anything like that. I just want to celebrate the fact that I think that oh my goodness. Well, let me go ahead and do that right there because we got to have respect around here, right? Okay, that's one thing the Dodgers Daily has been that we pride ourselves a lot on around here is that we all have different opinions. We all give them. We're all very respectful, right? So Augustus Phelps, Lux got his ring. Now he can go to a small market to excel and get his at bats and get his bag. Yep, absolutely perfect. That's well put, Augustus. Could not agree more. So yes, doing a show, Christopher, you are correct. Doing a show together Wednesday. Ila Shiba agrees with what I'm saying about Gavin Lux. Cole says people should stop talking about Dodgers not developing position players. They develop as many as any other team. Over the years, 18 Rookie of the Year, 10 position. Austin's actually done that. The Dodgers give their position players less at bats. And if you actually look at the metrics behind them, the Dodgers are still like in the top 5 in terms of position players and how they perform, although they're getting less at bats. So, yes, the Dodgers do a great job of developing position players. The statistics have that backed up. Austin can give you all of those. That's not my opinion. That is a fact. Larry Partridge, I'm with you here. Never stopped rooting for Gavin Lux. Was hoping he would stay a Dodger. We'll root for him this season. No doubt. Hey, Donnie Boy, thank you so much for joining in. I'm glad you enjoy the perspective here and the talk on Gavin Lux. As far as this being a win for both sides, as Richard Flores is saying, Lux gets a clean start. Dodgers get more flexibility. That's why right there, just reading all these comments, that's why Dodgers Dawgs, as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, is absolutely the most intelligent chat, baseball chat in the world. Just go right up and down the comments here, and you are going to get smarter as a baseball fan because these comments that I'm reading right here about this situation are the most intelligent comments that you will find about any situation like this. I mean, this is just big time to read these incredible comments. You guys, all of you guys and gals out there in the chat that are leaving these comments, give yourselves a standing ovation. Give yourselves an A+ because you guys are on your A game tonight and bringing it with these comments. Best chat, best baseball chat in the world. I always look so forward to talking to all of you wonderful guys and gals out there because I love enjoying reading your perspectives. Hey, Charlie Stokes, sorry, Casey, I missed your show. I'm going to watch it as soon as I get done. My only question is, what are the chances of getting Tanner Scott now that Gavin Lux is playing for the Reds? You can go get whoever you want now. Again, this opens up a 40 and then a 26 as you look down the future. So this opens up a spot for anybody that you needed to be able to eventually have to place on your 26-man roster. Tanner Scott obviously would be in that boat because he has no minor league options. So no Ortega, you're 100% correct. Gavin Lux will forever be a World Series champion. Let me double that. Gavin Lux will forever be a two-time World Series champion, right? That is fantastic. Christopher Navarro, thank you for reminding everybody to make sure and hit that like button, especially those that are from the All Dodgers. Clint family, this is a great place to learn about the farm system with in-depth statistics. Thank you so much for those wonderful comments, Christopher Navarro. And again, be looking out for our collab that we're going to do Wednesday on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. Going to head on that show, talk about the farm a little bit. Hey, Tokata DJ says, do you think Lux asked for a trade? I think they've both been in mutual talks. I think they both knew it was coming. And I think Gavin Lux, I don't think he necessarily asked for a trade, but I think he definitely gave the organization their blessing, which is why we've been talking about it all offseason, right? And upfront and very transparent. And the reasons why we have been so just stubborn as far as the Dodgers needing to trade Gavin Lux, these are all the reasons why, and that you saw tonight. So Christopher Navarro, I think the Dodgers are making a grave mistake in trading away Lux. The Dodgers have a reputation for drafting and developing players, then trading them away. They definitely do because they have a glut of talent. They have more great players than they have roster spots, which is why we always say that the currency in this system isn't money, it is roster spots. And this opened up some currency for the Dodgers tonight. Hey, Pocket Rude Boy, I did not want to see Lux go, especially since he had never hit anywhere close to a ceiling. Plus, Kim is unproven in the major leagues. Best of luck to Gavin. Don't forget that Kim still can be in the minor leagues this year. So you can still go get a Luis Robert Jr. or another center fielder, or still go get Ha-Seong Kim. Not saying it will happen. You can still go get, that doesn't mean Ha-Seong Kim, who you just signed, has to be the replacement for Gavin Lux. He can stay in the minor leagues. That would be awfully expensive to have, a $7 million a year type of guy. I think the last couple of years are a little bit lower than that. But to have that expensive of a guy being a minor league player, but still, if there's any organization that could do that, it would be the Dodgers. And really, there's no amount of money that can replace winning a world championship. So whatever move you think helps you win a world championship, that's the move that actually probably financially is the best decision to make. So we'll see how Ha-Seong Kim is handled, but you have that flexibility, and that's something the Dodgers greatly love. I totally agree, Lashiva. Luxie definitely is a great athlete, and I also agree that the Dodgers are turning into a dynasty, and I don't see it going away anytime soon. So Tokata DJ, who did we upgrade for him? Kim? No, I think the upgrade here is that Mookie Betts gets to go to second base. Tommy Edman gets to go to center. I think this opens up Andy Pages in center because you needed to figure that out, man. I mean, Andy Pages is getting ready to be out of major league options. James Outman's getting ready to be out of major league options. You needed to figure out those two situations and either trade those two before they run out of options or play them and see what you got, right? And at least get some value out of them on the field. So here's the deal. If James Outman plays this next year and bounces back and has a pretty good season, even if he's out of minor league options, because he's shown 2 out of the 3 seasons in the major leagues that he's been good, 1 year fantastic, even if he's just pretty decent, that raises his value again to be able to trade him at the end of next year. If you don't play James Outman at all this year and you don't trade him, by the end of this year with no minor league options, you're basically going to time out with him. You're just going to get absolutely nothing for him. So you needed to figure out to get the James Outman scenario. You need to figure out the Andy Paez scenario. I think this definitely opens that door up to make that center field a platoon. Dave Roberts hit on it the other day. People were like, "Huh, what the hell is he talking about?" I tried to explain it on the show that what that means is a platoon between Outman and Paez, likely or not likely, but certainly possibly. And so I don't think Ha-Seong Kim is the replacement for Lux. I think Mookie Betts is. And then you have Miguel Rojas, you have Tommy Edman, you have Chris Taylor that can all play shortstop, possibly Kike Hernandez if you sign him again. So that opens up the door maybe for Kike Hernandez, which pretty much was thrown shut with both Gavin Lux and Ha-Seong Kim on the roster. Christopher Navarro, literally their best hitter in the clubhouse beside Ohtani in the last month, talking about Gavin Lux. Hey, Alex, to God, not sure Outman is going to be able to make enough contact to make it with the Dodgers. Would love for him to figure it out and be the center field option. 4.1 WAR, that's what he was in his first year. He had 100 at bats. So nobody's good enough to evaluate what a guy can do at the major league level on 100 at bats. Nobody's good enough, not even the major league scouts, which is why when I hear people criticize James Outman, I just can't take it seriously. There's nobody that can seriously tell me that James Outman is this or that in 100 at bats. He was a 4.1 WAR in a complete major league season. Every major league player goes through a stretch of 100 at bats that aren't good. Now, James Outman were especially bad, but having said that, I just don't listen to any of that talk about him because, again, not me, not you, not anybody else is good enough to evaluate what actually a player is capable of doing, what they could do in as far as being the type of major league player they're capable of being in 120 at bats. Nobody can do that. Okay. And so the sad situation is, or the tough situation is, the Dodgers don't have 500 at bats to give away to get somebody comfortable. And so they had to move on last year. They had to figure it out. They had to go in win now mode, go win a World Series. But again, that's not an indictment on what James Outman is capable of being at the major league level. 120 at bats is not an indictment. I can't listen to people tell me that he's not capable or that the Dodgers should give up on him or any of that, because it's just not nearly enough of a runway for any human being on earth to make that determination. So that's kind of what I'm talking about with the options running out. You either need to get it on the field or you need to trade it right now. So Christopher Navarro, hey, Casey, there are two Navarros in the chat, Chris and Christopher. We live about 20 miles apart, both Dodgers fans. That is absolutely awesome, Christopher Navarro. Thank you so much for that wonderful $10 super chat. Christopher Navarro, you are an absolute rock star. So is everybody else in the chat here. Jay, it says smash that like button. I totally agree with you. Hey, Pocket Rude Boy, $1.99. You are a rock star. Love Casey and the chin down, eyes up baseball talk. No doubt about it. I love this situation. I am on cloud nine. It is 11:15, 11:12 here in Central Time, and I don't know how the hell I'm ever going to get to sleep tonight because I am pretty pumped up. Jeffrey Garcia, get a nice lead in the division. Play the rookies to show what we have and trade for something at trade deadline. That is, again, just another example of how the Dodgers Dawgs community, as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, is the best baseball chat. Jeffrey Garcia, that is absolutely rock star level type commenting right there. That is just simply fantastic. GMR 28. No more Kike and Lux touching after home runs. Yeah. Q Triple X says a bad trade. We've gone over kind of why I think it's a good trade. Hey, Elishima says, will the Dodgers sign Kike? It opens up that possibility. I can tell you this. They don't know at this moment what they're going one step at a time. The next step was to figure out a trade situation for Gavin Lux. Now they will figure out from here what it is they want to do to move forward. Now, obviously, they have a template, but things are so fluid in off seasons that those templates change. You really got to, it's like everything else. You got to take everything one step at a time. The Dodgers are so great at that. Last year, the first step was Shohei Ohtani, and then there was one step. So now the next step is, okay, we cleared the 26 spot. We cleared the 40 spot. What's next? Do we really want to get that back with a utility guy in Kike Hernandez, although we already have two other super utility guys in Hae-Sung Kim and Chris Taylor? And the fact that, do we really need Kike Hernandez for the first 3 quarters of the season? I would probably say the Dodgers are not going to sign Kike Hernandez. I think there's a possibility that they could go get him in a trade scenario midway through the season. But I can tell you this, that is a total guess, Elishiva. There is no, a lot. I don't mean this to sound cocky or whatever, but I think sometimes a lot of my evaluations have a lot of in-depth, as far as insider type stuff. That's not it. I have no insight. My opinion, you could go find somebody in the streets of a country that doesn't even know what baseball is and ask them that question, and they're likely to be just as right about that as me. So I would say no, but I have zero strong feelings about that either way. If it was me, I would not sign Kike Hernandez. If I wanted to go get him, I would wait to the trade deadline, and I would do it then. Yeah, Alex the God Freeman is already 10 steps ahead of us, no doubt about that. Tanner Scott, 4 years, under $64 million. Agree, over, don't pay, over, agree. 4 years for a reliever is tough. The Dodgers already have a really good bullpen. That would be a lot out of brand for most clubs, and it would definitely be out of brand for the Dodgers. Alex the God says Kike may also get offered a full-time starting role elsewhere. I would say this, and again, I could be very wrong, but just from all indications, I think if the salaries were similar, I think Kike Hernandez would take a utility bench role with the Dodgers over an everyday starting role anywhere else. I think if he had his choice between those two, he would choose the bench player utility role with the Dodgers over everything else if money was similar. So I think if the Dodgers want Kike Hernandez, they're going to get Kike. I think that ball is in the Dodgers' court. Cole saying Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Muncy, Smith, Conforto, Edman, Kim. Damn, I would not want to face that lineup. Well, how about the pitchers? Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, possibly Roki Sasaki, Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, Bobby Miller, Landon Knack, Ben Kasparius, maybe Nick Frosso if he gets back this year. Landon Knack, I mean, gosh dang. What do you do with this team? I mean, if the Dodgers stay healthy, just going through all of that list there, if the Dodgers stay healthy, I mean, of course, best laid plans don't ever seem to work out in this game. And what I love about baseball is that there's so many neutralizing factors that the best team doesn't always win. But gosh dang, man, just looking at what the Dodgers are building here, especially if they use this extra pick to go get a Tanner Scott, or even better than that, like even a Luis Robert Jr. or a really freaking good shortstop or whatever it may be, okay? Let's say the Dodgers use this pick to go get Tanner Scott. I mean, golly, the Dodgers are just such a massive favorite to win the World Series. But again, not just this year, for like 5 or 6 years in a row. I mean, this is a massive dynasty opportunity. And I hate to overspeak my bounds here, and I hope I'm not speaking this out of existence, which that's going back to my Steven Nelson talk, the superstition, and that is stupid. But it just seems like every time you talk about like something like that, it seems like you jinx it. But gosh dang. And then also the way the Dodgers have been able to do all this and then still keep all of their prospects in the farm system. that's actually a point of contention for me. I don't like that because then I think it kind of hoards guys and keeps them. I talked about the Hunter Fiducia scenario just last night, how he'll be, 35 years old before he's ever eligible for free agency, and that's even if he gets put on the major league roster for 6 years, right? So but anyways, that's my conversation today. I wanted to come on and talk about Gavin Lux. Let me check the chat one more time to see if there's any more comments. I want to get to Christopher Navarro. Yeah, starting pitching health is the key. That'll be something, I agree, the starting staff, Alex the God. Christopher Navarro, if the Dodgers pitching is healthy even early this season, we're in trouble. We'd have 20-plus pitchers without roster spots. Yes, that is exactly correct. There's a ton of depth in this system. So, hey, that's going to do it for me. It is approaching midnight here in freezing Oklahoma. It's like 10 degrees here in Oklahoma. This is what they're supposed to get up with Austin and Michigan. This isn't supposed to happen in Oklahoma, but it's going to be that way all week. Then it's going to get nice again. It's supposed to have snow and all that crap on Friday. So, hey, I appreciate so many people logging into this show on such a short notice. Hope you enjoyed the show. Again, all of you people out in the chat, give yourselves a standing ovation. Give yourself an A+ because you are the best. You have made this the best baseball chat in the world. And until next time, which will be Wednesday night, it's a great day to be a Dodger.